Hey guys, welcome back to the programming interview series where we'll be breaking down interview programming questions step by step. For this series, we will be working on a website called Codility, which has lots of free practice questions to choose from. The question that we'll be working on today is Lesson 4, Question 2, PERM CHECK. So let's start by reading the question. So we have a non-empty array A consisting of n integers. And we also have that a permutation is defined as a sequence containing each element from 1 to n once and only once. So for example, we have an array A such that A at 0 equals 4, A at 1 equals 1, A at 2 equals 3, and A at 3 equals 2. So we see that we have an array of length 4. So that means we should have all the values from 1 to 4 once and only once. So we see that we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each of them appear only once. So that means that this is a permutation. In the second example here, we have array A such that A at 0 equals 4, A at 1 equals 1, and A at 2 equals 3. So for this example, we have an array of length 3. So we should have each element from 1 to 3, because n is 3, once and only once. What do we have? We have 1, 3, and 4. So this is not a permutation because we're missing value 2. Instead of 2, we have a 4 here. So the first one is a permutation and the second one is not. So the goal of this question is to check whether array A is a permutation. And if it is a permutation, then we should return 1. And if it's not a permutation, then we should return 0. Alright, so here we go in Eclipse. We're going to start with our function here. So public static int solution, and it's going to take an integer array A as a parameter. Then we're going to declare a variable integer max number, which we're going to use throughout our function. And we're also going to create a set of type integer. We're going to call it our permutation set. And it's going to be a new hash set. Then for this, we're going to have to actually import some stuff to make this work. So we're going to import java.util.hashSet. And we're also going to have to import java.util.set. Okay, so next we're going to work on our main for loop for this function. So we're going to have a for loop from integer x equals 0 to x is less than array a.length, and then x++ is our increment. So yeah, here at the beginning we're actually using a set because it only contains one of each number uniquely, which is exactly what we're looking for our solution. Now in our for loop, we're going to want to check if a at integer x is greater than our max number. If it is greater than our max number, then that becomes our new max number. This is something pretty standard in coding that we do here, so it's just to check for the max number. And then what we also want to do in our loop is add the value to our set. So we do permutation set dot add a at x. And this just adds it to our set. And so since a set is unique in the way that it adds values to it, if the number is already in our set, it's not going to get added again for a second time. And if it's not in the set, then it will be added. So we don't have to add any more checks on this statement here. And now the final thing to do is going to be to determine if it's a permutation or not. So we have if permutation set dot size is equal to a dot length, and we have our max number is also equal to a dot length, then that means that our function actually returned a permutation, which means integer array A is a permutation. or else if it's not, we return a 0. So the way this works is that we check the size of our set. So if the size is equal to the length of A, that means it has the same number of values in the set as it does in the array A. But we also want to check to make sure that the values go from 1 to n. So by checking our max number count, if our max number is equal to the largest number in the array A, we know that it is going to be from 1 to n. So now to test our solution in Eclipse, we can declare an integer array A equals new integer array, and we can have the values 4, 1, 3, like we had in our example at the beginning. And then, of course, to test it out, like we always do, system.out.println. Then we're going to have our solution and using the integer array A. Now, if we run this, we will see that we get 0. So because 413 is not a permutation, we return 0. And we can also do another test here. We're going to use 4132 and just run it again. And we'll see that we actually return 1, which means that it was a permutation because we have actually array A with length 4, and the values go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is a permutation. Okay, so now that we finished testing the solution in Eclipse, we're going to copy it over to Codility and check that our solution works out. So we can just copy this part in the middle of our function and go over to Codility. We'll copy it right into here. And now we just have to import also these guys here. We'll just put that on top. We get no errors here. So if we run the code. Okay, so these tests pass. So that means we can submit our task here on Codility. Submit. And we're going to see what we get as a result here. Okay. All right, there we go. We got a total score of 100%. Then we got all our tests passed. And we got a result of time complexity of ON. So that's perfect. All right, so thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like down below. Leave a comment if you have any questions. And don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys next week for the next video. Thank you.